What's up, all you fishing fools? Jim Walsh coming to you live from Walsh Auto Custom Bait Studio. So I've had a few people call and ask me about clear coating of baits. I'm gonna go ahead and give you a few tips on how we do this. Now, these baits I've already put one coat on. I use KBS Diamond Coat, and for the most part, if you're just fishing for bass, you can probably get away with just one coating of this. But since we live here in Louisiana and there's a few fish that have teeth, I like to go ahead and put two coats on there, make it damn near bulletproof. For the KBS, it takes about 3 days to dry. I feel pretty comfortable fishing one of my lures after 3 days, but for it to fully cure, you need to wait like a full 5 days. So I'll go ahead and give you a few little tips. So basically what I do with the KBS, and I've used all kinds of different coatings over the years, and KBS is one I really like. I just use this like picture hanging wire, and you cut it to whatever length, whatever you want it. And you can basically just attach this in that you dip it with, and then you'll hang it on another wire and you'll let it drip. But the biggest thing, if you're gonna hang a bait and let the coating drip on it, the biggest thing is this drip wire right here. You can see how some of this stuff's kind of dried on here. But if you didn't have this drip wire, you would get that drip that's dried right here. Well, here's a different bait, you can really see it. See how that drip is right there on the end of that? Without that wire, that would be on the end of your bait and it would mess your coating up. Some people will dip their bait and then add this wire after they dip it. I actually like to put this wire on it and crimp it on there real good and put it on there before I dip it. That's just the way I like to do it. So the other tip I'm going to give you, we take these lures and we dip them in this paste pecani sauce. No, I'm kidding. It's just a jar. I basically like to take my KBS and put it in a jar because it comes in a metal can. I do that for a couple reasons. One reason why I do it is so when I dip that bait in here, I can actually look at it and see it, and really see what's going on with it. If there are any bubbles or anything that I need to get off, because you don't want any bubbles in your coating. So I just like the jar, and I also feel like it lasts longer in a jar. The next biggest tip I'm going to give you, and I have learned this from experience, is when you have this jar of clear coat, go ahead and save yourself some time and some money and just get you some cheap old saran wrap and double it over 4 or 5 times and put that over there and kind of press it down. One thing, it'll get most of the air out, which your coating will last longer. But if you see all this mess around this edge, I can promise you that if you do not put this on there to seal it and you put this lid on there, this lid will cement onto that damn jar and you will never get it off. I can promise you. KBS is expensive, and if that happens, you've just wasted it. So with that being said, I'm gonna show you how I do this. Now, I'm not saying this is the best way to do it. I'm saying this is the way I do it, and this is the way I like to do it. And like I said, these baits have already had one coat on them. That's why they're kind of shiny. I like to wait about 12 hours between coats. I just want to wipe it and make sure there's no kind of dust or anything on it. So basically, I'm just going to take this bait and I'm going to slowly put it in this jar. And as I'm putting this in, I'm kind of looking for bubbles and stuff like that. Now, if you've let this stuff dry for about 12 hours, you shouldn't have an issue with bubbles on your second coat. The first coat, once you dip this lure in there, you want to leave it in there a few seconds and watch for bubbles, because sometimes air will be trapped under these eyes when you put these eyes on. I know you probably can't see it, but there's a little bubble under this big bill right here. And as I'm holding it in here, these bubbles are going to float to the top. So you just kind of hold it in there till the bubbles quit coming. And sometimes I'll give it just a tiny little bit of a shake and the bubbles will come right off. And then you want to just slowly pull it out. And a lot of times, even if a little bubble does get on there, as you're pulling it slowly out, it will pop. And I just kind of like to rotate it a little bit when I'm bringing